morning. I'm your host, Lil Ree, and we have an exciting show for you today. We have two guests from the Women's Heritage Center and lots of fun events coming up, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. With Ellie, Elgin, and Stephanie Hopkins from the Women's Heritage Center. Welcome.
Oh, welcome. It's nice to meet
Yes,
you.
nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So tell me about what you have going on here. I noticed some paintings around here.
Well, they're more than paintings. They're photography, there's prints, there's some sculptured glass. The paintings include oil, pastel.
Now, Ellie, what type of work do you do?
When you saw the oils down there, the oil of the two girls,
Right.
that's mine.
Okay.
The young lady putting the socks on, that's mine. Washington Monument, that's mine. That's a pastel. So I work in pastels and oils mainly. So, and I never find them drying slow enough for me. And so everybody has their own sense of self that they need. For Stephanie, they took too long. For me, they can't take long enough, and because of the way I work with the medium to create the images that I do.
And do you prefer pastels or oils?
I love them both.
Really?
I love them both. I love getting messy. When my children were growing up, my daughter says, "We can't take Mom anywhere. She always smells of turpentine." And I guess my house still smells of turpentine because I just love working in the medium and doing the artwork. I love doing portraits. I do a lot of portraits, as you can see. The figurative art. I try to capture more than just what the person looks like. I try to capture who they are, what their personalities are, which is a very important part of art. Whether you're doing photography or whether you're doing a oil or pastel portrait, it's important to capture the essence of the person.
Right. I definitely agree with you on
Yes.
that. All right. So how can somebody contact you if they're interested in your work?
Well, one is we left down sheets like this at the front desk
Okay.
for everyone who's coming through. They can pick up, and they're numbered with the artwork, corresponding with the artwork, who the artist is, and the title of the artwork, what the medium is, and how much it cost. And it's two-sided, so they don't have to carry around a lot of papers. And at the end, you can contact me, and I will have like Stephanie or Joan or any of the other artists that are exhibiting to contact you directly, and you can talk to them about purchasing the artwork and when you can pick it up.
Okay.
And you can contact me, there's two numbers. You can contact me at 410-776-3882, or you can contact me on my cell number, which is 410-790-7889. And anytime you can leave a message on either one, and I will contact you back very shortly afterwards.
Okay. We'll be right back. More of the Women's Heritage Center. So stay.
enjoying your evening and looking at all the beautiful artwork. We have a special guest tonight, Jasmine Hogan. She's a senior from Peabody Institute and an ambassadorial scholar who is heading on her way to Beijing, China to study the Chinese harp. She's beautiful music. Please, just sit back and enjoy some of the beautiful sounds that she creates from this harp. What do you think of the show so far?
I think it's absolutely marvelous. I am so happy to be a part of this wonderful organization. My 2-year-old grandson's here with us.
What do you think of the show so far?
I think it's absolutely marvelous. I am so happy to be a part of this wonderful organization. My 2-year-old grandson's here with us this evening, and he seems to be competing with me. He's also an artist, so I guess very soon you'll be interviewing him instead of me.
Well, about your artwork, it's very unique, and I think that the last time I talked to you, you were telling me that it's somewhat a therapy for you.
Yes. My art is art therapy for me. I have a lot of chronic pain, and the art is therapy. It helps me to forget the pain, focus on the art, and it's helped me quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I recommend it for a lot of people as a therapy. A lot of times, I'm out most of the night.
Knowing that your artwork is unique and it has such passion to it, and I really like the passion that I see in your artwork.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It's a pleasure being here.
And the show, when you get a chance, please come down to the World Trade Center, to the lobby. You're going to see some of the most amazing artwork, from everything from abstract expressionism to absolute realism, and it all works together. The textile art with the glass, was it fused glass? We have fused glass. We also have enamels on tin, and you not believe this is the enamels on tin are done by the woman that does it, 92.
Really?
92 years old.
I got to see that.
Yes.
Yeah, 92.
Why don't we go down and look
Why
at it?
don't we go down? I would love to see it.
Okay.
It's a pleasure.
Back into the classroom. Because I was working with Federal Academy up on the hill, teaching workshops down there. I hope you've been enjoying the evening. I hope you've been enjoying the entertainment that we've had around here tonight. So continue walking around, enjoying the artwork, and enjoying the entertainment. And that it would be a kind of
Hello, I'm Wilhelmina Perez, and I'm a fused glass artist, and it's just wonderful to be here on the 21st floor looking out on the beautiful Baltimore scenery with the light shining. And it's just so wonderful to be a part of the Maryland Women's Heritage Center and Museum art exhibit again. Fantastic contributions that Maryland women have made. Please come and support in many different ways the Maryland Women's Heritage Center and Museum that has expanded since the 80s, when we were working on the Women's National Project.
Hi, my name is Loretta Gubernatis, and I am so thrilled to be here at the Women's Exhibition of this great artwork, Over 50 and Fabulous, because all of us are over 50 and we're fabulous. And we just started, Grandma Moses started at 82 years of age, and so some of us are babies and we've got a long way to go, but we're going there, baby. And this is sponsored by the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, and it is also sponsored by AARP. So get involved with the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, and we want to thank you for supporting our event. By the way, my art is hanging downstairs too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Being in paradise and we were
Hi, I'm Ellie, and I'm here today to help you understand how to put together an exhibit for the Maryland Women's Heritage Center. You've been asked to create and design an exhibit for women in a non-traditional role of construction. So what we're going to do is to look at the different ways that you can do an exhibit. Now, I know that all of you have done display boards and bulletin boards for your school, but to do an exhibit for a museum, well, that's a little different. An exhibit can be different things to different people. And so we're going to look at the three types of exhibits that are available to you. One is the art exhibit. This is when a group of artists get together and put on a show about their artwork. And any of the materials that are available is more about the artwork than the artists themselves. Commercial exhibits are usually for trade shows and expos, and they have usually a big display board behind them with information about what trade that they are representing. We're not going to do that type of exhibit either. The type of exhibit we're going to do is an exhibit, or called an interpretive exhibit, for a museum. An interpretive exhibit is the kind of exhibit you see in museums, science centers, zoos, and they all have one thing in common. They have an interactive part of it, or something that draws you to that exhibit, that gives you information about a subject or topic or focus that is part of the museum's mission. This is what you'll be doing. Your mission is to design an exhibit about a woman who's in construction. So that means you can use a lot more graphics and a lot more text in your exhibit than you would if it were a fine arts exhibit, which has very little text, less than what you find in a trade show, because you want to get the people to the point of and focus of your exhibit. Creating an exhibit, well, this takes a lot more planning and foresight. The first thing you need to do is to decide on your topic. Who or what or why this exhibit is important. The third is gathering the information and doing the research. And the third is collecting and creating an exhibit that is creative and engaging. Three very important things. And the last one is very important, because how many of you would like to go into a museum and not be engaged by what you're seeing there? first steps is to decide what your topic and the purpose of your exhibit is going to be. What do you want your visitor to take away with them? In this case, you've been asked to select a woman who is in the construction and building trades, which is a non-traditional role. Your career choice is non-traditional, and in general, you have a really good chance for yourself to literally format and make this topic very engaging to start with. Many young women do not think about going into this non-traditional role, but I see more and more young women out now into the building and construction trade. So what makes a woman want to go into the construction trade, you might want to ask. You might want to look at it from that focus of why, what was the purpose for her wanting to do this, and what kind of role model is she for other young women who might want to look at a non-traditional career role. First step is to decide on what your topic and the purpose of your exhibit is going to be and what you want the visitors to take away from the exhibit. So you might want to look at the woman that you're doing the exhibit on and what her role is in construction. Is she an electrician, builder, carpenter, or is she a building manager? All those different things. Is the construction part that she's in, how is this exciting? How is it informative? Why did she get into construction? What was it that made her want to become somebody who worked in construction? It could be a whole number of reasons why. You need to look at those to see if that is an exciting, interesting topic and that's something that visitors will want to take away with them. Next step is to collect the information, the artifacts that you need for this exhibit. And you're lucky because more than likely the topic of your subject, the woman that's in construction, is alive and living close by so that you can call her and find out all about her. You can do a telephone interview. You can contact her by email. You can set up your interview time so that you can go and meet with her and find out all the information one-on-one about this person. Now, before the interview, you might want to line up the questions that you would like to ask this person. Think about the kind of information that you would want to know about this lady, what you would like to know. What exactly does this lady do for a living? What is exactly her job in construction? You can do any one of these things. This is the important part, is to get the questions that you have up front so that you go into the interview prepared to ask her the questions that you know that you want to put down or information that you want to include in your exhibit. You also might want to find out what kind of tools, equipment, or things that she has available that she might want to let you have on loan for the exhibit. How cool would it be to actually have, say, a woman who is in road construction and you have her boots, her vest that you can have on display? That would be kind of very interesting to people. Here's this vest that a woman wears, her boots, the type of gloves that she wears, the hard hat, and compare them that they are basically the same thing that men wear when doing road construction. And besides that, it doesn't hurt to ask. You might also want to find out if she would be willing to be videotaped or photographed so that you can have those information for your exhibit. Now you're going to plan your exhibit. What kind of tools or equipment does the woman use? What if she's a landscaper? You might want to use a little bit of that in your exhibit. For instance, she takes lattice material, you can use lattice material or a bench. That could be a base for your exhibit. What helps is creating your drawing. You want to do a drawing of your exhibit of how you want it to look when you're finished. So you can look at the tools, the materials that are available to you. Don't limit yourself to Home Depot or the local hardware store. Talk to the lady. She might even have some of this leftover material that she can say, you can have this to build your exhibit. Another course, if you're a very hands-on type of person, is to do a mock-up exhibit. Now, a mock-up exhibit is when you use, foam core and cardboard to build the exhibit, and you can use it as that half an inch equals 1 foot, or an inch equals 1 foot, whatever makes you more comfortable with your building. It's a lot of gluing and taping, but it will give you an idea of what your exhibit will look like when it's finished. Now, here's some guidelines for how large you can make it. Don't make it too large. 2 feet by 6 feet is more than large enough, and it will also give you a chance to be able to put it together at the museum. Your final exhibit should not be too large. No larger than 4 feet wide, no higher than 6 feet. It can be smaller than that. You might want to just do a tabletop exhibit part of it. Or you could want to do it so it's in the floor exhibit. What you want to make sure is that it's portable, it's easy for you to transport, it's easy for you to put together. Our next step is the font and the images that you want to use. Font is very important. You do not want to use 12-point font. That is fine when you're writing a report for your teacher, but for an exhibit, it's nearly impossible to read and it's very tiring. You also want to stay within no more than 200 words per paragraph, making it very simple paragraphs. So let's start with the headline. To get people's to get them to the exhibit first, you want to tell them who it's about. So women in landscaper, whatever the title you want to be, make sure it's quite large. Your next step is to use the correct font size. You want people to be able to see the title from across the room. So even the smaller titles, you want them no smaller than 22 point. You also want to make sure that in this case, less is more. Do not overwhelm your visitor with too much information. Your paragraphs should be no more than 466 characters or 3 sentences per paragraph. The reading level for your text should be that your intro paragraph should be at the 3rd to 5th grade level, and the text itself can be from 5th grade to 8th grade reading level. Trust me, people do not want to read and a lot of big words. They want the information up front, so simple, in this case, is better. Make sure you reuse the right fonts for titles, and that can be up to 85 to 95 point for your head title. And then when you move down to 65 for your subtitle, and then of course 26 to 36 for the undertitle of that, and then consider to using at least 20 to 22 point for your text. Now here are some examples of a good font, which is in our timeline exhibit, which up above is adding her story to his story, is approximately an 85 point font, so that'll give you a good chance of how large a font can be. Some of the fonts in the timeline exhibit are quite small. There's a charm to the timeline exhibit so that it has some good elements, and it has some elements that could be greatly improved. So it's a good example of what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Here's an example of more of a bulletin board type of exhibit. It's a nice exhibit, but it's something that you see most of the time in a classroom. Now, compared to that is a good exhibit is our women's equality exhibit, actually using a mannequin to kind of pull you in to the story.
Here are some of the costumes the first female astronauts wore. And the center also has exhibits of costumes of women suffragettes. And here's an exhibit of the equipment from the U.S. military field used by a Maryland female doctor in the 1980s.
Another good example of an exhibit is the Rachel Carson exhibit, which uses very large images, large fonts, easy to read, even has what they call an information panel part of it. Interesting, you can look around. It is a trifold exhibit panel that is being used to tell her story. Another engaging exhibit, as an example, is our light boxes, which is for our Maryland Women's Hall of Fame. As you can see, the draw there is using the light boxes to get you to come over. They're a triangular shape. The font is a good sized font as far as each of the women are concerned. You're not going to be doing 6 women, you're going to be doing 1, so you have an advantage over there instead of trying to collect information on 136 women. And in this case, there's only 60 in there right now. You're only going to collect information on 1. So what I want you to do is to be flexible in your design, and the most important part is to have fun building it. Thank you. This is Ellie Elgin, signing off until next time.